Ontario New Democrats have removed one of their MPPs from caucus. Leader Merritt Stiles says she had no option after Sarah Jama refused to delete a statement she posted about the Israel-Hamas war.
As a team, you cannot continue to move forward when one person just continues to act unilaterally and not in good faith. We tried everything that we possibly could and gave her lots of opportunities, but unfortunately, here we are.
Right now, I'm trying to move safely and the media are being violent.
Make space. Make space.
Her side is that she wants you to make space for her.
Let's make some space for her, please.
Sarah Jama would not speak to reporters as she left the legislature. She's been the source of controversy for nearly 2 weeks, ever since she posted her support for the people of Gaza, but did not condemn Hamas or speak about Israeli lives lost. The Progressive Conservative government also moved a motion to censor her in the House. It was approved today, and it means she can't speak in the chamber until she retracts and deletes her original statement and formally apologizes. Robert Benzie is the Toronto Star's Queen's Park Bureau Chief. He has had a busy day, but he's made time for us. He's in Toronto. Rob, chaotic couple of weeks. I mean, take us through how we got to here.
Well, David, I mean, remember, Sarah Jama was controversial before the Hamas attack on Israel. In the by-election that she ran in Hamilton Centre in March, video emerged of some statements that she made about Israel, calling it an illegitimate state and other things. And Merritt Stiles was forced to apologize, and so was Ms. Jama, to Jewish community leaders last March. So it's not a complete surprise that this kind of thing would surface again. 2 weeks ago, on the same day that the Mounties announced that they were going to be doing a criminal investigation of Premier Doug Ford's Greenbelt scandal, which is a huge thing here in Ontario, and should be the greatest day for the opposition New Democrats, Ms. Jama decided that was the day she was going to put out this controversial statement that Merritt Stiles, the leader, asked her to withdraw. 24 hours later, she apologized for the statement, but didn't actually retract it. And then last week, she pinned it on her Twitter. And then the next day, she launched tried to launch a legal action against Premier Doug Ford for some over-the-top statements that Ford had made about her. So she tried to serve him her lawyer tried to serve him with a cease and desist letter last Thursday in the legislature, which is a no-no. Security were involved, and it was a bit of a security incident. Sources were telling us today. So, and then this morning, this censure motion was coming, and the NDP voted against it. The Liberals abstained, and the Greens voted against it. But the Tories used their majority to pass this censure motion against Ms. Jama. But as this morning, Ms. Jama came into the legislature, and instead of speaking to the motion, she reiterated her dislike of the Israeli government and the situation in Israel and the plight of Palestinians. And I think that wasn't what she had agreed she was going to talk about, I think. So I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back. So we had this unusual situation of her being defenestrated really in real time as she was being censored. So, but she wasn't kicked out of the NDP for her views on Israel and the Palestinian situation. She was kicked out of the New Democrats for insubordination. She was censored by the legislature, led by the Conservatives, for her Hamas views.
Okay, that's interesting, especially the distinction as to what got her in trouble with Merritt Stiles, because I watched her scrum earlier, and she just talked about her going off and doing her own thing, not telling anybody, and sort of essentially being a poor caucus mate, for lack of a better term. So what happened after she was ousted from caucus, and you know, in terms of today at Queen's Park, what happened after that?
I mean, it was a very messy situation. I mean, Ms. Jama is in a wheelchair, so she was coming out of the legislature. She was surrounded by reporters and cameras, and you've seen that scene on Parliament Hill many times. And one had to feel for her trying to leave. She didn't want to speak to reporters. Some of her supporters kind of were jostling with some of the journalists, I think. I wasn't in that particular scrum. I was at the other side of the building, but it was a pretty loud scene. And I think so that the visuals of that are not good. It was an unpleasant day all around. No one likes to see an MPP being censored. A Conservative cabinet minister pulled me aside and said they felt discomfort with this, saying, look, she was elected by her cabinet, her constituents. We may not agree with her views, but she has a right to espouse them. But remember, this is something this legislature has actually done now twice in 2 years. Last year, Randy Hillier, independent MPP, a former conservative, he was censored for some comments he made about Omar Al-Gabra, then at that time the federal transportation minister. So, I mean, this is a relatively new phenomenon. I've been here a long time, and I don't remember MPPs being censored as certainly the two in 2 years. Seems like a lot.
Yes. So what happens now? Because if you, I mean, what she said in the legislature today, the fact that the statement that started all of this is still her pinned tweet on her social media. I don't know Sarah Jama, but I get no indication she's going to apologize and retract and withdraw. So does the MPP for Hamilton Centre, it just goes on unable to speak in Queen's Park? Like, where does this go now?
Well, I mean, she's going to sit as an independent, so independents don't get to speak very much in the legislature anyway. Fair. Unfortunately, there are sort of several. Vincent Cook came back today. He's the former Tory MPP who's sitting as an independent since he was named in all that China election meddling stuff. So he was back today. It was quite a circus-like atmosphere, frankly, David. And I think. I mean, I don't know how she moves on in terms of doing her job, because she has an important job being the MPP for Hamilton Centre. It's a very important seat to the New Democrats. It was the seat of former leader Andrea Horwath for 18 years, something like that. So it's very, very important riding to that party. Ms. Jama won the nomination it was an uncontested nomination. They were very excited to have her. She's telegenic. She has a strong support base. And she brings some new perspectives to the legislature. And in last winter, they were really excited about her. But I think they were kind of, maybe they didn't look at some of the other things that you maybe would look at when you're vetting a candidate, such as past social media behavior, past public statements, things like that. So, I mean, now she could. It's up to the speaker for her to be recognized. So it's the speaker's judgment. He could recognize her. Doesn't mean she can't vote in or anything like that on legislation and so on. It can still participate, but not in the same way, and certainly.
No, it's interesting where this one is going to go. And as you say, the second censure motion in the last couple of years. Benzie, we'll never silence you. That's Rob Benzie, the Toronto Star's Queen's Park Bureau Chief. Thanks for coming on tonight, man.
See you, David.